it does not matter whether you start now and get in early. Here's my argument for this. And I'm still going to give you my business playbook for it because I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing around Dolby Atmos. If it takes off, like stereo did. Stereo took off 67, 70 years ago, however long ago people started listening to stuff in stereo. Has that stopped anybody starting new careers in mixing and mastering in the last decade, in the last 20 years, in the last 30 years, in the last 40 years, because they missed the boat on stereo so long ago? No, it didn't. So this whole clashing with Dolby Atmos arguments and FOMO, you got to get in early, or, oh, you shouldn't bother getting into it, it's just another hoax, is beside me. I'm like, dude, I'm doing my thing. You guys argue, I'm doing my thing, and this is my thing, all right? This is my Dolby Atmos business playbook. Okay, first thing I need to do right now, because this is just professional diligence. It's an audio technology. We are audio engineers. We should know as much as we can about all the technology at our availability. So due diligence. I've done a video on my Dolby Atmos mixing template and setup, which I was using to learn about it, but I need to update. I need to refresh my memory about it. So I'm going to go back to Alex Pro Mix, who has great resources here on YouTube when it comes to Dolby Atmos, and relearn setting up my DAW and the fundamentals of Dolby Atmos. Because I'll be honest, I'm not completely fresh on it. I need to do that. That's number one. Number two, there are a lot of peers I know that have Dolby Atmos setups, and I need to go talk with them, converse with them, pick their brains. Okay, so number one is refresh. Number two is learn from my peers. See what their experiences are. Are they getting a lot of business in through it? How are they interacting with the process? Where are they finding hiccups? What are they finding good about it? What are they finding bad? Need to learn. And I might see how much of that I can document here for you. I know I've already had some discussions with people around the business side, and business isn't super great. So I don't know how vulnerable people are willing to be about talking about that, but I'm going to try my best because it's going to be a learning experience for me and you guys on YouTube as well. So number one, refresh. Number two, talk with peers. Number three, I want to explore new concepts. And by new concepts, both Paul Third has spoken about this, or actually done this, and also Recording Studio Loser has an interview with Warren David, whereby both Paul Third and this Warren David, who I'm not familiar with, but I'm going to learn a bit because I'm going to watch these interviews, mixes both stereo and Dolby Atmos at the same time. So it's got this inbuilt redundancy where by mixing the Dolby Atmos, you're getting the stereo as well, which I think is great. So I'm going to learn a bit more about that because I think that's a really interesting part of the business feasibility of Dolby Atmos, because at the moment everybody has to pay two separate fees and it becomes more people, or not more people, more energy and resources put into making a project come to fruition for Dolby Atmos. So I'm really curious to learn more about that. The next one is on Instagram, I follow all my peers. I follow engineers who are my friends. I follow producers who are my friends. I follow people who have labels who I know. And every now and then they're releasing something in Dolby Atmos. What I want to do is make a playlist of all my friends' records that they've been releasing in Dolby Atmos. Even if they didn't do the Dolby Atmos mix themselves and somebody else did it, but they worked on a record that was released in Dolby Atmos, I'm making a playlist of all those songs. Because a lot of my peers, a lot of the engineers, a lot of the producers, the labels are in circles of clients who I currently work with too. So it'd be good to get an idea of it's almost like market research. What are the sort of artists who are releasing in Dolby Atmos? How often are they releasing in Dolby Atmos? Are they doing a single? Are they doing a whole album? Are they, after doing one Dolby Atmos release, doing Dolby Atmos on the next one? Or are they dropping it? Or are they picking it up? And what's sort of that cadence? So market research is my number 4 on my Dolby Atmos business playbook. And number 5, in the background, once a month, I will build up a portfolio of Dolby Atmos mixes. So as I'm mixing for clients, I'm going to pick one of the mixes I'm doing in a month and go, hey, I want to mix this in Dolby Atmos for you. It's for me to build up my portfolio. Are you open to letting me do this? And I got this sort of off... can't remember the name of the project, but I can remember the engineer, and you guys will all know this engineer, Bob Clearmountain. There was a project, and this is when he was here in Melbourne, speaking at Studio 52. He was showing us some of his Dolby Atmos mixes, and there was a mix he did for a project which he really enjoyed. He asked the artist, hey, do you mind sending this over to me so I can work on it in Dolby Atmos? I want to take the sort of same approach. If there's a mix I'm working on, or there's a project I'm a part of, which I really enjoy, I'm going to approach the client and go, hey, even if I'm not the mixing engineer, I'm just the mastering engineer, do you mind if I work on this and prepare it for Dolby Atmos for you? I'm very curious to see how that comes along, just as my own little portfolio building exercise in the background. I feel like those 5 steps, watching a couple of YouTube videos, talking to some friends, building a playlist and doing a mix a month, is very low friction in order to do my professional diligence to understand Dolby Atmos as deeply as I can. And this sort of branches out into the fact that in my new studio, I've pre-wired for Dolby Atmos. I have 11 speaker positions, all on its own circuit breaker and switch, and all the cabling in the wall. Am I buying the speakers for them? No, I'm not. Because, you know what? If Dolby Atmos takes off, there will be more than enough work for everybody. So it's not going to be an early adopter sort of thing. It will be that this is fucking going gangbusters and everybody's loving it, or it's going to completely die to the wayside. Either way, I think professionally, it's good to have due diligence in any new technology. It's not really new, but in any technology that piques our curiosity that is of current time. And I encourage you guys to take some of these steps, watch some of these videos I've spoken about, and tell me how you get along with it. Because I think the sort of fear-mongering that happens around Dolby Atmos discussions is unhealthy and not conducive to the reality of what we live in the industry. So fearing that if you don't spend 50 grand getting a Dolby Atmos rig set up, that you're going to miss out somehow, I think is bullshit. And saying that is a complete waste of time and not going to go anywhere, excuse me, is also, I wouldn't say it's complete bullshit, but it's just not healthy or conducive to actually interacting in our profession in a helpful way. So I'm actually pretty impressed. I did this all in one take. One take. How good's that? Anyway, until next time, take care.